All right, everyone, thank you for being here today at Fairgrounds St. Pete. This is Mystical Mermaid March. We are so thrilled to celebrate all things mer-culture and mer-people here at Fairgrounds St. Pete. And we're very excited to have special guests here with us today, the Mertailor, Eric DuCharme, Seashell Queen, Iona Parris, and Gabrielle Calise with the Tampa Bay Times. I'm going to take a couple minutes and just read everyone's bios so you know who is here. So Eric DuCharme, CEO of Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium and Mertailor LLC. Eric began his Mertailor journey in 2006 at just 16 years old, performing as the prince in Weeki Wachee Springs' The Little Mermaid show. He had a vision, a passion for mermaids, and the mystery surrounding them that could not be quenched. Today, Eric's list of accomplishments include magical tale creations he has made for a diverse range of clients, from well-known personality Lady Gaga to Queens of RuPaul's Drag Race. Mertailor Mermaid Tales have made appearances in movies, network TV shows such as Saturday Night Live, commercials, and music videos. Most recently, Eric's story has been showcased in the Netflix documentary Merpeople. He owns and operates the Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter in Lecanto, Florida. What Eric says is the most special are his everyday customers, those men, women, and children who dream about this curious and mythological underwater world as he has done for as long as he can remember. The excitement and happiness they experience when they excitedly open their package from Mertailor and see their tail for the first time. Seashell Queen Iona Parris began her art journey while in the U.S. Air Force and just back from deployment in Kuwait. Iona was happy to be home but struggling with PTSD. She needed an outlet to help her adjust to being home. One day, while looking at seashells she collected on her desk, she got out her nail polish and started painting them different colors, discovering how relaxed it made her feel. She enjoyed how painting them gave them a different story and made them look even more beautiful than they already were. Iona has shared her creations with family and friends who encouraged her to pursue art full-time. But first, she needed a name, an homage to her grandmother, Princess Iona Parris, an elegant and classy woman who loved the beach and all things luxurious. Iona began making art under the name Iona Parris. In 2023, Iona adopted the name Seashell Queen and launched her Seashell Queen collection. Many people have collected Iona's seashell artworks and jewelry, including movie and TV stars. Iona's mission is to continue to find and design the best seashells around the world. And she says, seashells are my muses, and adding allure and opulence to them is my passion. Iona is a Fairgrounds St. Pete artist, and her shell art and fashions are for sale in our shop. I'm wearing one of them on my head right now. Our moderator today is Gabrielle Calise. Gabrielle is the editor of A24's travel book, Florida, a hyper-local guide to the flora, fauna, and fantasy of the most far-out state in America. She currently reports on local history, music, and culture for her hometown paper, the Tampa Bay Times. Gabrielle, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Liz. And thank you everyone so much for coming. This is a great celebration this month, and we're so excited to have these two very special guests. So I figured we could start with the Mertailor himself, Eric. So you started mermaiding at such a young age. How did this come about, and what did it mean to you and your identity?
Hello.
Oh wait, there we go. I need to speak. It's dead. Good afternoon. What was the question again?
So mermaiding at
started, I fell in love with mermaids when my grandparents brought me to Wekiwachi Springs State Park, and I'll never forget the mermaids going by, the windows and blowing a bubbly kiss, and it was just something that just enchanted me, and stayed with me for a very long time. And I knew that moment that I was going to be doing something in the realm of mermaids, whether it was swimming in that spring, making a tail, or whatever it was. And it was just always something that I gravitated towards. I was a very artistic child. I love the water, so it was just very fitting for me. I was always creating and trying to figure out how to wrap my legs up in duct tape or garbage bags, and eventually fabric and safer things. And I turned it into a small business and an enterprise when I was just 9 years old, actually, and officially went into business as the Mertailor, making mermaid tails, and then the next thing I know, Mertailor became an international commodity, and later on opened up an aquarium.
Well, we'll be talking more about the aquarium soon, but great answer to get us started. And then Seashell Queen, similar question for you. So I know that you're newer to the mermaid community, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you got started and just what mermaiding means to you.
Well, so I got started back when I was in the military. So I have more of a seashell background. Seashells, when I started picking up seashells, like Liz was saying, it helped me with my PTSD when I started doing art and everything like that with them. And once I started doing more art, and Fairgrounds actually was the first people to kind of reach out to me and be my vendor and start selling my seashell crowns, it kind of thrust me into that world, but I still looked at myself more as an artist. I was like, no, I'm a mermaid artist, I'm not a mermaid. And it wasn't until the founder of Afro Mermaid, Carrie Water, she had reached out to me on Instagram, and she was like, hey, you should come to our mermaid summit in Miami. And I was like, well, I'm not really mermaid. She was like, you're a mermaid, come on down. So I bought myself a tail and I went down. It was so magical and beautiful, and they taught me how to actually swim with the mermaid tail, and I got to actually see the community. The community was so welcoming and so nice, and it felt like it was something that was missing. Everyone should have something whimsical, magical, and that's what the mermaid community brings to me, and how I feel about it. So, yeah.
A great answer. I think all of us are here because we love mermaids and we love magic and that specialness that you find, especially here in Florida. I'm curious, a question for both of you. What are some misconceptions about what it takes to become a mer person? Can anyone be a mer person? What advice do you have for folks like that?
So I believe everybody, your mothers, fathers, kids, grandkids should be a mermaid. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is, who you choose to be in life, what you choose to be, who you choose to love. It doesn't matter, if you have a disability or you don't have a disability. It's a great way of doing something that's not harming anybody else or yourself. It's a great outlet of essentially, I didn't answer the first question the best way. The microphone thing messed me up. It allows you to escape reality into another world and just kind of distance yourself from the everyday life that we live when we're not doing this. This is me, this is my normal, this is what you get unless I'm swimming in the tail. But to me, this is magical. Here talking to all of you, getting to talk to you about what I've accomplished in my life and how I inspire others and how I love to inspire others to do what they love to do, to escape reality, to do something with themselves so it makes them happy and gets them away from something that they might be struggling with in life. And I think that's really, really, really important. And I think that because it's so welcoming, the community is generally so welcoming, it allows so many people to kind of come together and form this unique bond all over the world. I mean, there's only so many people in this room right now, but the mermaid community is a worldwide commodity. It is huge. There are so many people that are interested in putting on tails that are not even part of the community. They just love it, and they love it for various reasons, and it doesn't matter why it is, If you frequent the Florida Springs, you'll probably see somebody, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever they choose to describe themselves as, in a tail. generally, because it makes them happy, it makes them feel good. And that's great. Life is about feeling good and doing things that are supposed to make you happy, and that's important.
He said it all. Yeah, I think, yeah, like he said, anyone can be a mer person. Just like he said, young, old, people get into it. I think I know a person who just joined my pod, the Military Mermaids group, and she's 70. So had no inkling, was military, was her background as well. So, people usually think like you have to be that ideal mermaid, Ariel and everything like that. And the biggest misconception is that a lot of mermaids don't look like Ariel. So we come in all different shapes and sizes, as he says, and so that's the beautiful part of when you actually get into the community. You see so many different mermaids out there. So absolutely, yeah.
I'm not a huge Ariel fan. She's great, and I know a lot of people love her, but she's right. You don't see a lot of Ariels in the mermaid community. You see a lot of people who are inspired by her. I know one very close person who is Ariel everything, but doesn't ever try to be like Ariel. They try to be a version of themselves.
So everyone, you heard it here, we're all potential mermaids. But that leads to the question, so what advice do you both have on this mermaid journey? How do you get started with this?
I mean, I got started with duct tape and trash bags. Don't take that the wrong way. But the point is you can take popsicle sticks and make a mountain out of it if you really want to. It just depends on what you choose to do with what you have. The tails at Mertailor that we create at our studio, the prices range from $100 all the way up to $5,000 and $10,000, depending on the complexity, the artisticness behind the tail, what the material of the tails are made from. It just depends. You could literally put a towel around your legs and put a safe fin on the bottom and don't drown in a swimming pool and do it properly, and you could be a mermaid and it could make you happy and you can be fulfilled. You could put a sheet over your legs while you're watching The Little Mermaid in your living room and say you're a mermaid. You could have a $5,000 professional mermaid tail, that looks like a real fish and you're a mermaid. It doesn't matter. It's just, you get started and I guess it's one of those things where you don't have to have the top-notch everything to live your dreams of being a mer person.
I would say I got started by mainly, I saw a person online who made these beautiful seashell crowns, and at the time, they were $500. Now they're a lot more now, but when you're first getting started into something and you're like, oh, well, I definitely don't want to pay that price. I didn't have $5,000 or $500 to buy a crown. I was like, well, I'll learn to make my own. And so that's how I actually got started, was making my own. But then later on, you find out local like pods and everything like that in your area. Like, so there, in ours, we have the Tampa pod, we have the Military Mermaids pod, we have the Mermaids. So even if there's not, maybe you find something in your own area. I mean, if you don't have anything in your own area, still buy the tail, So get the tail, and if you don't know how to swim, learn how to swim first, because that's very important. But also, even joining the mermaid community, it doesn't even take you having to know how to swim, first. You could just like to dress up as a mermaid and everything like that, and you will find your people, so yeah.
And that leads me to another great question about community in the mermaid sort of space. Obviously, having your other merfolk, having your pod with you is so important. Seashell Queen, I would love to hear more about the military mermaids.
So how we actually got started was, I'm a part of Wounded Warrior Project. I'm a peer leader for Wounded Warrior Project, and so basically that means that I facilitate events for local veterans and into the community. We do local events. Well, I also like to mermaid as well. And my wonderful supervisor, she's back there, her name is Kate Pratt. Yes. She actually knew that I liked to mermaid, and she was like, hey, you know what, it's okay if you want to do a mermaid event for the veterans and everything like that. I know you like to do that. And so she encouraged me to do that. And so we actually went out, found a pool. We got tails for the mermaid, or the veterans as well, and well, now they're mermaids officially. But yeah, we got tails for them as well, and we had our first swim back in September of last year. And so ever since then, we've been doing like different mermaid appearances, we've been doing mermaid swims, we've been coming together. And what a lot of people don't know about the veteran community is it's a very tight-knit community as well, because we've all experienced something, you know, like whether it's deployment or whatever you experienced inside the military. And so actually getting to come together on a different level to add a little bit of a whimsical, because as being a veteran, when you come into veteran events, safety is so important to us, you know, and feeling safe in whatever environment that we're in is so important. So I knew that in the mermaid community, it had that same type of feel as well. And, you know, just bringing them all together. And so I'm glad that it got received really well with among a lot of the other veterans as well, so yeah.
And you mentioned that the Afro mermaids down in South Florida really were great mentors for you and kind of brought you into the fold and gave you this confidence.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that organization.
So Afro Mermaid, a lot of people have a big misconception that Afro Mermaid is just only for African Americans, but it's actually supposed to be just a community of diverse mermaids, like all coming together. I was telling someone, I'm so glad I went to that convention first, just because that one, the community is so loving. It's a smaller event and it's a smaller convention, so you get to know everybody who's there. And people, we just get along and we just love on each other, and just we're in our mermaid tails, and it's just a fun way just to all be together. But it really showed me in the that the mermaid community was like another safe environment, like to have fun, have that whimsical side, and people just be sweet and nice to each other and everything like that. So yeah.
It sounds like a great community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Eric, so in your bio, we heard all about how your tales have gone worldwide and been on Netflix. Tell us more about Netflix's Mer-People and just how being part of that docuseries affected you.
So, actually, strangely enough, I was at a mermaid convention many years ago, and I was approached by one of now the executive producers. And she asked me, hey, I want to talk to you. I've heard about you from Wikiwachi, and even though you're not there anymore, I'd like to speak with you about some potential things. So Mertailor and myself got involved with what is now known as Mer-People early on, before it even became anything. We were actually filming with them about a year or two prior to them actually getting everything that they were going to have their story told as. And it was a really great opportunity for Mertailor and myself to be part of, because I was finally able to tell some of my history and some of my story, because it's not all there out on the world to see. There's so much that was missing, unfortunately. But I'm very happy and grateful for what was said. It explains a little bit of my history at Wikiwachi, so that doesn't go down in history. And then it shows the ability to for somebody to have an achievement and actually make that goal happen in life. I've always wanted a mermaid show. When I left Wikiwachi and then I left that brick wall, I wanted to have a mermaid show. I wanted to have a performance space, and I wanted to make it happen. So the fact is, the director, Cynthia Wade, was able to tell my story as it was happening, and it was fantastic. That's documented, and I'm so happy that people got to see that goal, like from literally an empty metal building, to having this amazing mermaid show and now an aquarium. It was great. The team was so great to work with. I really had no idea what else was going on, because there were so many other personalities, and due to contractual issues and things like that, it was kept hush-hush. But it was about 3 years of filming with the whole process, and the team was great, and we found out it was going to be on Netflix, and that was super invigorating and amazing. And what I love the most about it is, we go back to talking about community and mermaid community and the industry as a whole. The amount of people that have come through the aquarium doors just to see what I have been able to accomplish as a 33-year-old, and want to come experience, you know, basically what is my brain, but in real life is so gratifying and so special to me. I've met so many unique people with so many different stories. You know, I grew up with Tourette syndrome. There's a lot of individuals who have had Tourette syndrome who have come through, you know, Mertailor just to see me, to want to introduce themselves to me. Mothers bringing children who have Tourette syndrome, and they want to bring their children in to show their children that they can do anything they want to do in life. And I mean, those are tear-jerker conversations that I've had with people, you know, just the elder people who come through who remind me of my grandparents who I no longer have here. You know, they get to share their gratitude and just like, you know, it's amazing what you created here and what you're offering to the world, and I love that. So to be able to create a safe space that people appreciate is so amazing. So I'm so happy for that opportunity through Netflix and that production company that made that happen.
And for anyone who hasn't yet been to Eric's place in Lecanto, Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium, you gotta go. It's such a treat. You get to see so many cool things, including Eric swimming, which is just such a special performance. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that. So when people walk into the doors, describe what that space is like and what people can expect when they come and see you.
So when you walk in, it's a gift shop, it's a trap. No, I wanted people to feel immersed when they walk in. I wanted to create a very intimate, unique, otherworld space when you walked in. I didn't just want an aquarium with tanks in the walls. I wanted it to feel like you were actually immersed in another world. And it's a constantly ever-evolving, evolutionary space. I'm never satisfied with A, B, C, and D. There's always got to be more letters after that. I mean, I'm in the process of changing it around again. You just wouldn't know it. But when you walk in, you just feel immersed into this whole entire area of, you know, being under the sea. The goal was like this shipwreck kind of theme, and you just go in this really large circle. You're able to interact with wildlife in a safe space. You know, my theory is if I can get a safe space for people to calmly and safely and non-invasively interact with wildlife in a captive environment, I'm hoping that will gain a little bit of positive acknowledgement and appreciation for wildlife and the environment that they live in when they go out into the wild, when they go out into the real world. I'm not saying that anybody should be touching wildlife when they're out in the ocean, but it's a safe space. They can do it, they can learn about it. I mean, do you know how many people that come through and tell me, I can touch a stingray? Didn't Steve Irwin die from a stingray? Every day, multiple times a day. Would you know that when people leave the aquarium and they have that education and wow, they're not going to kill me, these are important animals, these are amazing, you know? And actually a lot of the animals at Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter actually rehomes and rescues. We have an entire 30-foot window of rescue macaws that have come through the entire state of Florida from various homes, individuals that have passed away. One of the most popular ones is divorces. So, you know, they give up their child that they had for years because, you know, one's going to live in a hotel and one's going to live with mom for a little bit until they can figure out how to be an adult again. And we've rescued some birds from the pound, actually. So there's all sorts of different opportunities for people to appreciate animals that way. So, I mean, I know this is more about a mermaid thing, but again, these are all things that I wanted as a child and wanted to make happen. And then there's the mermaid show. So I grew up working at Weeki Wachee Springs when I was just a teenager, which was unheard of. I was one of the only 16-year-old performers. And while it was short-lived, when I was finally paid for what I did, I learned so much there. I created bonds with the older former mermaids of Weeki Wachee who, you know, were the famous mermaids of Weeki Wachee back in the 60s and the 70s. And I was taught by all of those ladies to how to perform and do ballet and how to swim in tails underwater appropriately. And that's something that Weeki Wachee has started falling down with over the years. And it's something that I wanted to be able to preserve in a very small, unique, never before done space, which is our aquarium in its salt water. So you get to see a little bit of old Florida nostalgic kind of concept with a new twist, a modern performance, and that's something that we're working on. But again, we just want people to leave the space feeling like they've left with something, whether it's they've learned something, they have more appreciation for something, or I want to be a mermaid now, and I want to do something, you know, creative and artistic that makes me feel good.
Very well said. It's such a special space, guys. I really hope you get a chance to check it out. My final question for the two of you. So you're both leaders in the mer people community in your own ways. What does that mean for the two of you, and what mark do you hope to make on Florida with this?
That's a good question. You know, the funny thing is I've never looked at myself as a leader in the mermaid community, just because of the community was, what I liked about it was togetherness. So for me, I never like to put myself at like on the top of here or anything like that. Not to say that's a problem, right? Because you need leaders in certain industries and everything like that. When it comes to military mermaids, because that's what I primarily lead, or in my Seashell collection, I would say it's really important that, especially since I'm working with veterans, that I'm very sensitive to whatever needs that there are for them, as well as them feeling welcomed and actually getting that feel of the mystical mermaid kind of magical experience and everything like that. So when it comes to the mermaid community, being a leader in that, I would probably say I want people to, if they were to look up to me, I want someone to think like, oh, you know what, I want to join the community because I want to feel welcomed, I want to feel like included, and I want to enjoy the adventurous side of being a mermaid. You know, and I tell people all the time, because it wasn't like I wanted to be a mermaid when I was a little kid, so that makes me a little bit different, right? Because I actually want to become one as an adult. So you know that, you know, at any age you can just start something different and something new, you know, from being a military veteran and being deployed into this different environment to coming into this environment, and it's such a magical world. So that's what I would say for mine. Yeah.
I just like making dreams come true. I really do, you know. I mean, my whole purpose in life was to make my dream come true. You know, I had a very supportive family. I still have a very supportive family now that I've had my own family. It's just, I've just been always filled with love and support, and you should do this, and you should do this, and you should do this, and wow, I'm still creating that space for myself because I just feel like I have to have it for me. What I love is the people who are behind the tails to create their own dreams and their own journeys, and being able to see that, you know, like Liz was saying earlier, when the customer opens that box. I mean, just watching somebody cry on camera in front of you because you were giving them this, like, this open door of this new world. I mean, that's real. That's strong. And it makes you feel really good, but then you get to continuously see that, you know. I'm not gonna be around forever. I would like to leave the legacy of what I'm doing for others to enjoy, and that's what I love about this is, you know, I'm creating tales for hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. I mean, literally, we are doing that. And again, it's for so many different people. It's such a diverse group of people, and I love it, you know, for so many different reasons. And now even through the aquarium and the mermaid shows, like, just to watch the little kids and even the adults, like, just look up at the mermaids through the acrylic window like this, and you just see it going through their head, and they leave there, and they're infatuated, and they want to do something with their lives after that. And so it's just creating this creative space for people and educating them and giving back and having that sense of fulfillment while you're doing it too, because you know that when you do something that's going to make a difference in somebody's life, because you never know what anybody's dealing with deep inside, right? So if I have the ability to bring a little bit of happiness and craziness into somebody's life, I'm about it.
So well said. All right, guys, you've been such a good audience, and we want to hear from you. Does anyone have questions for our mer people?
Who has a question?
Thank you. Question for both of you. Do you guys have like a favorite place to swim, whether it's a spring or something? And then is there a place that you haven't gotten to swim at that's like a bucket list type of location?
Good question.
what? My favorite place to swim was Jenny Springs. I went to Spring Splash last year, and they have like caves and everything like that. So I'm still a new swimmer. I tell people like, I'm not as advanced, but so I was really nervous for my first time actually getting to be in a body of water where it's bigger than 6 feet, because usually in a pool it's only 6 feet. And so it was like the first time I actually got to swim in a cave and actually see the different life, and it actually felt like I was a part of the ocean. So it actually felt really nice. I would say a place that I probably want to swim at, there's a place called the Devil's Den. It's here in Florida. It looks so cool, and it's actually in a cave. So I really want to actually try swimming there one of these times. So yeah.
I've had the pleasure and honor of swimming in a lot of places. For Netflix, we got to go to Atlantis and the Bahamas, and that was amazing. The whole beginning sequence was filmed there, and I didn't realize how exciting that was for me, because I went there as a child with my dad. I had that opportunity I'm grateful for. So I got to go back as an adult and swim in what they call the digs to film that. So that was magical, and to see it all the time on Netflix when it rolls, like, God, it's so fun. I get to live it all over again. I love the Florida Springs. I think they're magical, they're refreshing. I enjoy swimming for people, you know. I enjoy performing. That's really where my passion stems from, is I love doing that in front of people. So the aquarium that I've created is where I have now kind of found my home. Everybody's like, you need to go to the Springs. I'm like, but I have a tank right here. I have a tank right here. So I just want to grow it and make it bigger, to do more amazing things, you know, and let people see and enjoy them. So I mean, I've become like, I went from spring mermaid to saltwater tank merman.
And the thing that really surprised me the first time that I swam, I had the pleasure of swimming with Eric at Rainbow Springs for a story that I wrote. It's cold in that water, guys.
So cold.
And you don't realize, because they're graceful, they're smiling, their eyes are open, but you have to be an athlete to get into that water.
We're dying inside. You just don't show.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Side note though, swimming in the Dubai Aquarium as a mermaid, I think would probably be amazing. Eric, are you married? Do you have children? And if yes, are they mer people as well?
So I have 8 years. This year we got married, and he's here with me today. He's part of my family, obviously, and we're in the process of adopting a little girl right now who's been in our life for almost 3 years, and she thinks she's a mermaid, and I don't force it on her. I let her do her own thing, and I love her very, very much. And the new logo for the aquarium, we just call it Mermaid Jordan, so it's her, you know. But yeah. So I am. Actually, this is, I think, the first time that I'm publicly saying that I'm married. We kind of rushed into things because we wanted to adopt our daughter from the foster system together. So that's what we ultimately wanted to do. That we just were kind of rushed into having to finally do it without having, you know, the Black Swans and Eliza Minnelli performing and all of that stuff. Funny enough, it actually we had a lawyer friend of ours notarize and marry us in the great kitchen at Mertailor one afternoon in front of people, and they're like, "What's happening right now?" And they're like, "Oh, boss is getting married in the kitchen right now." But yes, happily married and happily a father.
Any other questions?
Will you ever expand Mertailor? Will you add another tank?
So when you come into Mertailor, what you see right now is 5,000 square feet of aquarium space, educational space, and entertainment space. What you don't see, unless you go on a backstage tour, is a lot of those workings, as well as our 5,000 square foot manufacturing space for mermaid tails. Mold making, sewing, printing. I mean, you name it, side projects that Eric started 3 years ago and hasn't touched again. You know, open office space, whatever, and birds and all sorts of things because we are running out of space, but we want to try to have it all. Eventually in the next 3 to 5 years or sooner, because I don't know what no means and I have no patience, the goal is to move manufacturing to another space, and then we're going to expand the aquarium to the manufacturing space, have bigger tanks. You know, we've rescued a lot of our animals, and we have a lot of animals that are going to grow. We have some endangered species, which we're honored and amazed to have in our facility, and we want to be their forever home. All of our animals are like our kids. They have stories, they're special to us, so we want to be able to move them into their new bedrooms, if you will, into better bedrooms, and provide amazing care for them. But I also want to be able to, we've started our in-tank water experiences, which I love a lot because it's another way of making dreams come true for people. We're getting people in the tank to experience what it will be like to be one of our mermaid or merman performers. And again, getting the ability to swim with things that people have this misconception are going to eat them. And, you know, we had a little girl with autism this week, and right now I'm recovering from sinus surgery, so I'm not able to be part of the in-water experiences forever. And we had a little girl with autism, and just to watch the little bit that I had the opportunity to watch her swim in that tank and have that tail and be part of, you know, these sharks and stingrays, and she just had this amazing experience. So as we grow Mertailor, I want to be able to grow that in-water experience in a very respectable way to allow people to have these amazing experiences. So the goal is to expand Mertailor. Had a lot of local officials telling me that I made the wrong choice of where we're at, but we're literally right at the spill out of the Suncoast Parkway. I mean, how much better can you get, you know? So the goal is to expand and have bigger spaces for things and have a bigger show and have more people come through and do amazing things and do a lot of conservation projects and things like that as well.
Great question. I think I saw a hand in the back towards the twisty treat.
I was gonna ask what has been some of your biggest challenges on your journey so far?
For which one?
Both of you.
The biggest challenges I've had on my journey, that's a good question. I would say the learning how to swim part was probably the hardest part. And still that's something that I have to constantly keep up with, because like during the winter time, sometimes, like if I don't get to indoor pool or whatever and I stop for a little bit, I almost not lose the ability, but you forget how many muscles you're using, different muscles. And so the stretching and everything that's goes along with it. So I would say mine is probably the swimming part and everything like that, just because I want to swim every day. Like that's why I'm so glad that summer, spring is here. I can swim again. I can go to the springs and everything and not freeze my butt off. Even though I will say the springs is cold even in the summer. So a lot of people think that it gets warmer in the summer. I'm like, I went in the summer. It's still cold. But is it worse in the summer? Okay, well, it's worse in the summer. Yeah, I say that part is just making sure I keep up with my ability to swim, because it's important. You want to make sure you're safe in that water as well too. So especially when you're in your tail safety is super important. So when you're getting a tail and everything like that, knowing that is very important. So absolutely.
So there's 3 things. Number 1, myself, I'm my worst critic. And I'm always inside having this silly little demon saying, you can do better. This isn't good enough. You have to do better. And it's not necessarily to compete with anybody else or compare myself to anybody else, but it's, I know I can do everything and I know I can do it amazing. So it's a constant fighting of, I need to do more, I need to do better, I need to do more, I need to do better. you know, and I don't talk about that a lot, but it's something that I struggle with, and even more so now with not just being a creator of mermaid tales, but I do tend to spread myself very thin because I wear many hats, and I've done that to myself, but it's because I've wanted so many things in life to happen, and you know, just in a matter of 3 years, I opened up a public aquarium. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a child, but I also wanted to make mermaid tales and be a performer. I don't have a degree in marine biology, but you know, I give injections to stingrays that are sick, you know, 7 days a week if I need to. You know, I learn what I need to learn to do things. The other thing, you know, not to get all depressed and everything, is trust. I do have a problem with trust. I've been burnt a lot through my life because I've trusted people with wealth of information that has potentially kept me from moving forward with various creative avenues and things. So I've become very bottled and trying to learn how to protect myself and my inventions and my creations, because not because I don't want anybody else to do it, because I'm trying to protect what I've created, you know. So those are real struggles, you know. And now I'm also struggling with how to be a good dad, you know. Am I doing enough? Am I spending enough time with my family away from Mertailor, you know? Am I doing that? So I'm trying to balance all of those different things and doing the best that I can do. But that's the thing we should do in life, is just do the best that we can do, right?
A lot of great lessons from these mer people today. Thank you so much for being here with us, Eric and Seashell.
Thank you for having me.
Can we do a big round of applause for them? Thank you so much. They'll be around if you want to ask any more questions. Come up, check out the Mertailor tales over there. So stick around. Yay.